Christopher Columbus in his journal said about the Indians, "They are so naive and so free with their possessions that no one who has not witnessed them would believe it. When you ask for something they have, they never say no. To the contrary, they offer to share with anyone." And he wrote that in his journal, mocking them. Because he came from a land full of the worst kinds of people. And so coming in contact with human beings that were so open to sharing and caring and loving was to be mocked. Horrible people. These people were horrible people. And we have a fucking holiday for Christopher Columbus. We have to start from scratch. There is no we have to pull out every little piece of history that the United States has taught us, grab it and pull it out by our ears and burn it. Burn it. These people were fucking horrible.
And the same goes for us here on the continent. We have to do the exact same thing with the history that was taught us. We need to put it in the trash. And I'm sure the way Christopher Columbus felt and thought about the natives in America, them colonizers that came to Africa must have felt and thought the exact same way about us. Because it was the same thing that happened here.
For those of us who don't know, before colonization and slavery happened, Africans had met the Europeans. And no, I'm not talking about the Africans, the Moors that met the Europeans when they went down there to Europe. I'm talking about the time where before colonization and slavery happened, the Europeans had actually traveled down to Africa. They came in the guise of friendship, claiming that they wanted to be cool and build trading relationship. Only that Africans did not know that these people had an ulterior motive.
So our ancestors were being the good Africans that they were, nice people, they were welcoming, they presented them with gifts, showed them around, taught them about our ways, our cultures, which they went on to use against us, as we know how the history went, right? But yeah, those people must have thought the same way colonizers thought and felt the same way he felt about the native people, that we were naive people who don't have sense and we're just nice. And they must have been making fun of us in their minds, fun of our ancestors in their minds, that we were fools for being nice people. That's crazy. I mean, we already know these people were terrible, terrible people. But to now learn that he was making fun of them for being good people, making fun of the Native Americans for being good people, that takes the evil to another level, to levels that we cannot even begin to imagine. Because in what world do you know how, see, I'm shook, I'm like speechless, but do you know how evil you have to be for you to see good and make fun of good? Meaning to you, the norm is bad. So now you seeing good is like suspicious, it's weird. It's like, what is this? And not what is this in a good way, like, I like it, I've not experienced this before, I want to be like this, I want to feel this more. It's like, what is this? And like, what the is this? That's strange. Like, you are repulsed to it, to the point where you now take to your journal and talk down on goodness. That's crazy. That is new. And like sis says, it says a lot about where he was coming from and the kind of people that were there. It also made me remember, I've forgotten the name of this guy. It was one of them folks that made the earlier visits to Africa.
Using the Kingdom of Benin, for example, if you were to compare what this guy wrote about the Kingdom of Benin and the things he had to say about the place versus what historians or writers had to say about how cities in Europe were like at the same time this guy spoke about the Kingdom of Benin, it's basically night and day, with the Kingdom of Benin being day and the cities in Europe they spoke about about being nice. The person I'm talking about is Lourenço Pinto. He was a Portuguese ship captain, and in 1691 he observed that the great city of Benin, where the king resides, is larger than Lisbon. All the streets run straight as far as the eye can see. The houses are large, especially that of the king, which is richly decorated and has fine columns. The city is wealthy and industrious. It is so well governed that theft is unknown, and the people live in such security that they have no doors to their houses. And in contrast, London at the same time was described by Bruce Holsinger as a city of thievery, prostitution, murder, bribery, and a thriving black market that made the medieval city ripe for exploitation by those with a skill for the quick blade or picking a pocket. It's write-ups like these that when we piece them all together, we really start to have a very clear idea, a very concise idea as to what it was like over there in Europe and how they were like over there in Europe versus what it was like for us in the other corners of the world and how we were like in the other corners of the world. While we are coming from a history where we did not even need to have doors in our houses, they are coming from a history where they could not even bloody walk safely on the street because someone could come out of nowhere and take them out with a knife because they are trying to take whatever ish that they've got. This is the history these people are coming from, a history devoid of love and care and compassion and, anything positive and good. So it's no wonder that Christopher Columbus, when he encountered the Native Americans, he was shocked by how kind and nice and welcoming and willing to share that they were, to the point where he made fun of them for being nice people, for having humanity, because the place where he is coming from, it's all things diabolical that has been standardized there. And that was why he said in his journal that if you have not witnessed them, you would not believe it, because to him and his people, such goodness does not exist. So even if he were to just tell you or tell his people about it, they would not believe. They would have to see it for themselves. Like Sis said,
horrible people. These people were horrible people.
Things like this you would not find in the history books. Like write-ups like this in either his journal or the guy I was citing earlier, right? The things that he said when he came down to Africa. Things like that, they won't teach us in our history because it defeats the entire narrative of colonization was very much needed. They did a good job. It was very necessary. The colonizers were not that bad. And narratives like, oh, the people were backwards, they were barbaric, they were uncivilized, and they needed to be saved and brought education and brought Christianity. They cannot tell people that these people were kind, they were welcoming, they were nice, they had, good hygiene, they had their forms of writing, they had well-structured systems that they operated with, and they had these monumental structures. These people were bending iron and mining for gold. They were goldsmiths and doing all of this stuff that goes against the narrative that they want the world to believe about African people and the natives of America.
Because how do you say all of these good things about a group of people, speak about how nice and progressive that they were, and then come back around and say you, the same group of people who you've spoken about yourself, talking about how backward and unkind you guys were to yourselves, now come and say it is you, the backward and unkind one, that wants to come and civilize the people that you've spoken about earlier that were so nice and progressive? That don't make no sense. So of course, what do? They lie and keep all of the facts about this group of people, the true history about this group of people hidden, so that their lie that they want to be the fact about this group of people would be standardized. So now they have a justification for why they did all of the F-up things that they did to this group of people. The history that we have going that is still unfortunately being taught to us in school is one that keeps the status quo of the colonizers' lie intact, alive, kicking hard and thriving. That is why I am so against our curriculum here on the continent, because it's the colonizers' curriculum, a curriculum that helps the colonizers keep their lies alive. And I cannot wait for us to actually revamp our educational system on this continent, because it is actually sad. It is actually unfortunate that till date we are still teaching our children on this continent the lies of the colonizers. And not only do we teach their lies, we make their lies our truth.
Well, anyways, guys, this is a quick video, I hope, right? How many minutes am I saying there? Thank you very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Do let me know down below in the comment section what your thoughts are. And of course, as always, I would see you guys in the next one. Bye.